Okay, everyone. Hello. Hello on YouTube. Okay, so this is a plan. I'm gonna starting doing live streams on YouTube, live conversations with people. I'm gonna bring a topic and we'll talk. But um, the thing is, the the conversations will be on TikTok. So the conversations that you will hear will be only on TikTok. But before that, I want to do something just to make sure that the sound is working. Let me just do something here.
Whoa. What's
Okay,
that?
the sound is working. That's what I wanted. Okay, so I'm gonna start a live on TikTok. You guys can watch on YouTube. Probably I'm not going to have too much people watching on YouTube. That's fine. Um, I'm not going to say the word YouTube on TikTok because they're going to restrict the live. So yeah, let's go. Let's start a live on TikTok and start to have conversations. You guys can follow on YouTube or go to TikTok and follow there. Okay. Start the live here. My topic is Christianity is true, and I'm going to invite people who disagree to talk about it. We are live on TikTok. Okay, I'm gonna have a guest with me, Kevin, for Permeate Evangelism. I'm waiting just for him. There you go. Kevin, you can request. Guys, I think the sound looks good on both sides. Okay, give me a second. Uh, give me a second, guys. Yo, Maverick, it's working. Yeah, I figured it out. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah, I'm live. Bye. Okay, I was just talking with Brother Maverick. So I'm doing live on TikTok and also on YT at the same time. Shout out to Brother Maverick for helping me. I'm still waiting for Kevin. I'm gonna invite him. Maybe he can. What? It's saying I have to buy coins to request. That's make any sense. What? That's crazy. Kevin,
Yeah.
are you there?
Can you
Okay,
hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. That's weird.
Awesome. Yeah. Once you sent it again a second time, it worked fine. But the first time I clicked accept, and then it brought me to the video, and I clicked join, and it said pay
Okay.
for coins to join. I was like, so
What?
we're good.
Okay. Let me see. Let me see one thing. Okay, guys, spam the like, share the live. Okay, no. Yeah, I have another TikTok account and I don't know, that's weird. Never mind, it's fine. How are you, Kevin? Are you good?
I'm doing well, doing well. How are you?
I'm fine, very fine.
That's good.
Logan Brick, hello, how are you? Uh, Big shout out to Brandon Maverick that helped me here to making the live on two platforms at the same time. So today the topic is Christianity is true. Request if you disagree. So we want to have good conversations, share the gospel. That's our goal here. Leave a like on the live, share the live. Also follow Permeate Evangelism. Follow Kevin. Also,
Thanks.
it's kind of slow, but we'll wait. Gene said Jesus is the way, truth, and life. Amen. That's right.
Amen to that.
So I'm gonna refer to the other app as YT. Can you do you understand?
Yep.
Okay, because TikTok is weird.
Yes. You messaged me about that. It's crazy, but I'm not surprised with the algorithms and stuff.
It's kind of slow. So guys, if you disagree, you can request like the live, share the live. I'm gonna share it actually also with some people. You can also do that, Kevin, if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna send that text.
It's live. Okay, we have someone. Okay, we have two people requesting. Okay, let's start.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Pepe. Is that your name?
Yep.
Or yeah, okay. How are you?
I'm fine. You?
Okay, I'm good. Yeah, do you disagree?
I do.
Okay, why is that?
By what standard are you making that claim?
By what standard? So first, I would say because of all of the evidence that exists to back up Christianity, starting with the God existence, and then about Jesus, the life of Jesus, all the historical
I mean,
evidence.
that's a pretty big presupposition that you're just expecting me to accept.
I'm not expecting you to accept. I'm just trying to just make for you to do like a research and trying to figure it out what makes more sense and what is logic, because I believe Christianity of all religions is the one that has more evidence, historical evidence, to back up
What kind of historical evidence?
all the manuscripts that exist from the Bible. We have thousands of manuscripts that don't
Can you name
disagree.
one? Can you name one?
One manuscript. What do you mean? I can name one. Like,
Okay, so you
what is a
can't name a
manuscript?
single manuscript.
No,
So you can't
It,
name a manuscript that you are trying to cite. Okay. So and the next thing is you are making a claim that not only does your God exist, but that there's so much evidence that this being exists, even though you can't provide any. And that because God exists, that proves that God exists.
okay,
So
but
it's almost like you're trying to plug one end of an extension cord into the other and trying to say, "Hey, I made electricity."
yeah, and if I could jump in, I'm Kevin, by
yeah,
the way. Nice to meet you. Yeah, so there's over 5,800 manuscripts. We can give you a link with all the names of it and things like that. There's over 5,800 just for the New Testament. But what I want to almost start with first is, okay, so there's this statement of Christianity is true. First, we need to define what is Christianity, and second, we need to find what does the word even true mean. So I want to ask you, what do you think Christianity is? I want to hear your perspective on what Christianity is.
I mean, it's not my perspective, it's the definition. It's believing that Jesus Christ is the Messiah or the Son of God, depending on which doctrine you're thinking of.
Okay. Okay, that's pretty close. Like Jesus is God, and He is the anointed one, the Messiah. So that's good. Do you believe that there is actually truth in this world? Like, is there such a thing as, maybe I'll specifically say, is there such a thing as absolute truth?
No.
Okay, so what do you believe
In what context?
about God and spiritual things?
Oh, I don't believe God exists because there's no proof of God.
Okay. So your presupposition is that God does not exist, and you're
Oh,
saying our
it's not. It's no,
presupposition
no. Wait,
is
wait,
that.
wait, wait, wait.
Go ahead.
So the reason it's not a presupposition is I'm not forcing anybody to assume something that is not readily available, nor am I forcing people to say, "Hey, you have to accept my worldview. My worldview, my lack of belief in any God, not just yours, is because there is no evidence to support it. So it's not a presupposition, it simply is the way that the world is, because you don't have the evidence to dispute it.
Okay, I would beg to differ, but that's good to hear
Okay,
your
then please
perspective on
provide
that.
it.
Yeah,
Then
so
please provide it.
I would ask you, who has the burden of proof to prove that
You
there
do.
is a God? Why is that?
You do. Because you are making the claim.
Okay, but if you look at just macro history, there has always been a belief in the higher power. Yeah.
So I'm still waiting for the evidence, right?
Okay. Well, if you let me talk, I was going to set the table for that evidence. So
No. See, that's not how evidence works, right? If you want me to provide you evidence of gravity, right? I would drop my keys out of my hand and they would hit the ground. That's evidence that gravity exists.
can you
If you
see
want
gravity?
if you want evidence that
Yeah.
we as human beings require air to live, I would first hold my breath, get faint, and then when I took a breath, I would function much more normally. That is evidence that we as humans require air to breathe, right? So the evidence that there is no God is that nothing that currently exists would not exist if your God doesn't. And you have to prove that false.
Okay, well, you actually made my point because the world wouldn't exist without us. Because people, like, you don't choose to breathe each day. Like,
I
you
do.
wake up and you breathe. No, because you don't choose to wake up.
Oh,
Like,
I can choose not to wake up.
but no, you actually can't. Like
Okay,
that's
so
irrational to
you
say
just
that.
contradicted yourself
No,
again,
because like there's
because
many people that die in their sleep.
you don't
Yeah.
have the evidence to prove your God is real.
Okay. If there there is a massive amount of evidence. So let's go through a couple examples. The complexity of the DNA, the self-healing eye. I mean, it is so complex, and we still are learning about the DNA, which is why we don't
Okay,
even have the cures for all
now what
things.
you're doing is the watchmaker fallacy, which is where you say, "Oh, things are so complex, they cannot exist without a designer." That's the watchmaker fallacy. I'd like you to move on. Give me your
That
next point.
that's actually not even what I was going to say. So you need to
I mean,
stop
it's
cutting us
what you
off so
said.
clearly. Yeah.
It's quite
Yeah, you
literally
need
what you said.
don't cut him
Wh-
when he's talking, please.
Yeah. What makes you so angry about God and people
Oh,
that
I'm
talk
not
about God?
angry at God because
Yeah,
God
no,
doesn't
about or the
exist. So
people
what's
about
there to
God.
be angry
Yeah.
about?
What are you angry about with people about that believe in God?
Oh yeah, so people like you who
Yeah.
try to force their religion onto other people and try to say, if you don't believe in my religion, you are going to suffer. And you are going to hell because you don't believe in my religion. That's my problem with people like you.
No, first,
Okay.
I think nobody is
Yeah, go
forcing
ahead.
you to believe in our religion. We are just trying to have conversations. So you believe if you want.
Oh, I don't believe because there's no
Yeah.
evidence to support the existence of yours or any other God.
Yeah, I would love to hear like your journey. So, did you grow up
I
like
know
in an
I'm
atheist
good, but
background or
I'm good, but you can keep trying to give me evidence
well, I'm just asking to hear
because
like your evidence of it.
it seems like you're going to try to go through the watchmaker fallacy, and then it seems like you're probably going to try to cycle through the God of the gaps fallacy. Then you're going to try to go through the precision fallacy,
Why is
which I
everything a
mean,
fallacy?
all of them are
Yeah.
incredibly tired and debunked. Um,
I was actually going
quote
to ask
unquote
you about your
proofs of your
journey.
God.
I was just going to ask about your journey. That's simply what I
Oh,
asked.
I don't choose to provide that with you.
Okay. Because it seems like you had some
I'm
bad
still waiting.
experiences with some Christians. So,
I'm still waiting for your evidence.
okay. If you got evidence that you accepted, would you actually follow the God that is given by that evidence?
Oh,
If
those
there
are
was
two different
evidence.
questions. Those are two different questions that you're asking me, right?
No,
Because
it
if
is
I
a
got
hypothetical. Yeah.
wait.
Go
So
ahead.
what you asked me what you asked me is if I got evidence that your God exists. Okay.
Yeah.
If by some miracle you came by that evidence, okay, I believe that your God exists. Would I follow your God? No, because I believe him to be I believe that God to be unethical and not worthy of worship.
Okay, this is where we're getting somewhere, so that's good. Because
but see, the problem is you ask two incredibly different questions, because simply acknowledging that something exists is not the same as worshiping, right? Do you worship the air that you breathe?
So why would God
What?
give you
Wait.
evidence
Can you
if you
answer the
don't even want
question?
to follow him?
Do you worship the air that you breathe?
No, because I worship the
No.
creator and
Okay.
not the creation.
Why don't you? But wait. So do you believe that it exists?
Yeah, it exists. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you acknowledge that things can exist without you worshiping them.
What?
Yes, they can. That's true.
Okay.
And
Good. So I'm glad that we've come to that conclusion, right? Okay. Go ahead. Continue.
Yeah. So God will not give you evidence because you don't even want to follow God. And I'll give you an example from the Bible that the Pharisees were saying,
I don't accept evidence from your Bible. You don't accept evidence from
I'm not telling you.
wait.
I'm giving you a story, not an evidence.
We need to
don't
let him
accept
talk.
evidence from wait. You don't accept evidence from other holy books, so I don't accept evidence from yours.
I actually do read a lot of the other holy books, and there's some truths
but you
in
don't
them.
see. But again,
You're
you misunderstood
assuming
what
so
I said.
much.
Yeah.
You misunderstood what I said. You don't accept the evidence from the other book, so I don't accept the evidence from yours.
So you're assuming so many things about us that I think you've had some
What
really
am I
bad
assuming?
experiences with Christians. You assume
What
that we
am I
don't read the holy
assuming?
books.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Yes. We
No,
have
it
it on
isn't.
record,
That's not
so
what I
we'll
said.
go back and
Would you
listen to it.
like me to reiterate what? Would you like me to restate what I just said?
You can, but we're probably going to end this soon because it's not really a conversation.
Sweetheart.
So.
What I said was you don't accept evidence from other religions' holy books.
How do you know
right?
that?
You don't accept evidence from other religions' holy book, so I don't accept evidence from yours.
Yeah. Look.
So can you repeat back what I just said?
Yeah, you said you don't accept evidences from other holy books, which is false because we never said that.
You did, though.
Okay. Last thing I want to say is God is God, whether we believe it or not. We are not beholden to
and you
evidence.
have no evidence to support
and there is a God that loves you, but also he opposes the proud and gives grace to the humble.
You haven't provided evidence to support your claims, so I'm sorry you lost. And
We
you're
don't
gonna
need
kick me because you lost.
We don't need to give you evidence of it because you've already rejected God.
Oh, I haven't.
Okay, Mr. Pepe, thank you for coming.
Okay, so you're gonna run away because you can't make an actual argument. Okay.
Nobody's running away, by the way.
On to the next one, yeah. Because even if we gave evidence, he said he's not gonna follow God. So
but
it's
he's saying that we don't have evidence, but what evidence he has that God doesn't exist?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
it's not even worth giving evidence to because he's gonna just
Okay, guys. Right now, I think we don't have anyone requesting. Request if you disagree with us. We just had a conversation.
Maybe Mel can join because they're saying anything is true if you want it to be. It'd be an interesting conversation.
Who said that?
I think Mel.
Anything is true if you want it to be. Yeah, that's kind of a stretch.
It's actually the most common view in colleges, I think, today is relativism.
Yeah.
And there's different degrees of it, but it's nonsensical.
Okay, guys, if you disagree, you can request. Just had a okay. We have Mel is requesting.
Nice. I'm excited.
Hello, Mel.
Hey.
Oh, it's a guy. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
You're good. I have a guy who I know is named Mel too, so you're not alone.
My bad.
I really don't care. I'm not homophobic, so I'm fine.
You're cool.
We are not also, so don't worry.
Yeah, I get it. It's not a big deal. It's just a name.
So why do you disagree?
Why do I disagree? Well, you guys were saying that you were commenting on my comment of anything could be true,
Mm-hmm.
and you found that funny in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Yet you believe what you believe is true, and therefore anything could be true if you believe it. You know.
Yeah. Do you think so? I would actually make the statement, and maybe some Christians would stone me for this, but I don't think belief equals truth. Because I agree actually with your statement to an extent that just because someone believes anything, even Christianity, doesn't actually prove it to be truth. So I think it's an interesting conversation, interesting statement. But the question I would have to follow up, and I mentioned it, I don't know if you heard it, but like, do you believe in absolute truth, or are you more on the relativism side? Because I think the way you read that will depend on what you believe on that aspect of absolutism versus relativism.
For me, all these conversations that revolve around Christianity. Give me 1 second. My dog is being a pain in the ass.
Take your time.
All these conversations, Christian conversations on TikTok, multiple, you can flick through and there's multiple, and it all revolves around the same handful of questions that you guys typically ask. And it comes back to people, you ask the same handful of questions, and it's, for me, it's nonsensical. It's absolutely nonsensical. I feel what I feel. I believe what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to go down this circular path of that Christians like to go down, and it all comes back to the same handful of ridiculous statements about the Bible and the Scripture and the Dead Sea Scrolls say this and that.
Yeah.
Why would you say it's ridiculous?
Because why would I say it's ridiculous?
Yeah.
Why would I not say it's ridiculous?
Why would you say it's ridiculous?
Because it's a fairy tale.
But
it's a fantasy story designed to control people and scare people into submission and believing what other people want you to believe. So it's not the word of God. It's the word of God.
What about historical events that happen?
Well, go on. You point out the historical evidence to me, please.
Crucifixion.
Where's the evidence?
You have outside resources of the Bible that talks about the crucifixion. Of course, you have all the manuscripts of the Bible, the Gospels that talk about the crucifixion. You have secular scholars that believe the crucifixion really happened. There is no. It's the most what's the word? Kevin, help me here.
Corroborated.
Yeah, corroborated event in history. So why do you say it's a fairy tale?
Because there's literally no, just because people believe it and they feel it, and there's no tangible evidence. You show me the tangible evidence of a crucifixion.
Yeah. So if you look at the crucifixion, to look at the crucifixion, you also have to look at the resurrection. So that's one thing. The Bible clearly talks about it, but I think from your standpoint, you don't really believe the Bible is true. Is that a correct statement? I don't want to assume.
100%. I believe it's absolute garbage.
Okay, that we'll come back to that. But if you look at the extra biblical evidence, you look at the writings of Tacitus, of Josephus. These guys are like Roman historians, and they are not Christians, and they are publicly not so. And they wrote about the events of Jesus, some of the miracles of Jesus, who he claimed to be, and also the crucifixion. You look at the Roman Empire; they did over 300,000 crucifixions, and that's a minimum. There's some sources that go up to 1.1 million. They know how to kill people, and they know how to document that as well. And there is documentation in outside biblical sources. You look at what happened culturally and societally after the crucifixion and the resurrection, complete change of society when it comes to faith because of not only the crucifixion but the resurrection. So there's a lot of evidences outside the Bible, because I actually like empathize with people. Like if it's just one source, I get it. I would be a little bit jaded as well. But when you look at the totality of it, you look at a lot of the archaeological sites. There's hundreds and thousands even of archaeological sites that support and corroborate the Bible. So there is tangible evidence. I did presentations on archaeology. Like it is there if you want to see it. And that's what I think the challenge is. People don't want to see it. They don't seek for what is true because they've already have this preconceived notion that it's false. But what are your thoughts on that?
I'll go back to my original statement that I said in my text, that people will believe what they want to believe, pretty much.
Yes.
And you just pointed out, you'll believe what you want to believe. I'll believe what I want to believe. So it's all opinion based.
Yes, but the question that we should be asking is not what do you believe or will you believe. The question we all have to ask as humans is what is true. Because I agree with you. We cannot just believe because we're told. We cannot just believe because we read one thing even. We need to find out what is true. And that's where not only Christians are bad at that too, because I work with churches and they're just like telling kids what to believe and not why. But also the same problem outside of the church, including yourself, is you need to ask the question of what is true and not just what should I believe or what I don't believe, things like that.
For me,
yeah,
the first question that I see being asked all the time is, well, have you read the Bible? I have not read a single line from the Bible, yet I know that it's absolute trash.
How do you know that? Because that's a bold statement to say something that you've never read before.
Because, okay, I'm supposed to believe there's a man in the sky watching me having a wank. Like, come on, guys.
What's your spiritual background that you grew up in? If you don't mind me asking, you can be general. I'm just curious in your journey to your view.
I grew up, I'm from Ireland, born into the Catholic faith, and then I guess around early to mid-teens started to realize that this is absolute manure, and that was pretty much it for me.
Okay, can I actually just encourage you that I actually do think the Catholic faith is pretty much manure?
Well, hold on there for a second. That's another one. That's another one.
Claim,
That's another one that I hear from Protestants all the time. That it's popery. It's oh my God, guys! You know, you're supposed to be these loving, understanding people, and this. All we want is love and peace and everything. But yet, these different sects of Christianity all pretty much despise each other. I mean, like you're a fine example.
That's not true. I've been to Catholic churches and stuff like that.
Hold on. I'm born and reared in Ireland, and there's a massive hatred, mostly from the Protestant community to the Catholic community.
That's because of the war that you guys had between the
no. Hold on. Don't be talking falsehoods, please, there, buddy.
What?
You don't know what you're talking about.
No. Why is it?
The Protestant community for centuries in Ireland believed that the Catholic community, the native Irish people, were subhuman and that they were messengers of God, and they had the right to persecute these people and kick the Irish out of their own country. So
it's not because they call themselves Protestant that we agree what they do. So what's your point?
You don't understand my point?
No.
Does this other man understand my point?
You are saying just because
hatred.
People
I'm talking about the hatred among the Christian community that is on display every day. Oh, the Muslims! Oh my God! At least I'm the utter ignorance, the level of ignorance from Christians on a daily basis is just frightening. It's frightening.
But isn't it ignorance to say that you know how Christians are supposed to act when you haven't read our book?
Oh, but I hear it every day. I hear it every day. I know. I live in America. I hear it every day. Oh, all I want to do is save your soul. I'm there. I don't care. I don't care what you want. You
If you
believe
don't
what you
care,
want.
why
I
did you
don't.
come up?
Because, why did I come up?
Yeah.
Because
If you don't care, why?
I made a simple statement. And you guys found a little bit of humor in it, and you said, "Oh, let's get Mel up." And
Yeah, but
that's why I came
you
up.
decided to come up, and we are not even
Yeah.
talking about your statement.
Yeah.
You are just talking trash about Christianity, and we are not even
Absolutely.
talking.
Every day I
Mel,
will.
Mel,
I will.
what do you, so you're saying what we believe is wrong. What do you believe about God?
That there is no God.
Okay. What's your evidence on that?
Well, I haven't seen him. I don't see any great works. There's terrible things that go on in the world. Children suffer every second of the day, and all I hear is, "Well, it's down to free will." Wow, that's your get out of jail card, there, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Children are suffering in the millions, starving to death every day, and all I get is, "Well, that's because of mankind's free will, and it's not. You can't blame God for that." That is such a lame excuse right there.
Yeah, I agree. I think some people just blame it on free will and move on with their lives, and they have no compassion. So I agree with you. That's sometimes Christians are really bad at responding to that question. Do you know how God responds to that? Like, have you heard anyone actually say how God responds to that?
No, go on, tell me.
Okay, and I'll be brief. But a lot of people say, "Oh, it's free will or it's all man's fault." But God created everything and it was good. Like there was no death and suffering. That's not how it was meant to be. And not only God, but we should weep over this suffering. And I'll be honest, like Christians aren't very good at weeping over suffering of famine and like complete destruction of children. Like Christians are really bad at it, but that's not God. That's humans. The second thing is God did something about suffering, and he actually, and I know you might disagree on this point, but God came down in human flesh as Jesus and suffered on our behalf. God didn't say, you guys suck it up or you guys deserve it. Like Jesus suffered as we did. Jesus, when he had people weeping and dying, he wept with them, and Jesus suffered and died with us. And so the response of God's to the suffering that you are angry at, which I am angry at too, is actually he came and suffered with us and did something about it, and is not only died for us 2,000 years ago, but he's creating, it says, even mansions, even a place where there is no more suffering and disease and tears, but it all centers on Jesus. And so, yeah, I'm sorry that you've gotten some poor responses to the concept of suffering, because I've heard them too, and I get frustrated at Christians too. But that's not the message in the Bible. That's not the message of God who came down and suffered with us. If there's no other religion or philosophy in the world has a higher power come down to the earth to suffer with us. There is only one, and that's Jesus. And so,
So why is there still suffering? If he came down to suffer with us, why is there still suffering?
There will be a time that there is no suffering, and this healing that he brought is deeper even than an extra food on the table, which we as Christians are commanded to give food to the poor. We are to give food to the people that are hungry. But Jesus came to earth to bridge the gap between the sin of humans that is causing a lot of the suffering, the greed and the wars and all these things like that. God came down to fix that issue, and he said he is coming back and he's going to fix this, which is there is no more crying, no more disease, no more tears. But it's only for those who trust in Jesus. That Jesus says he is the way, the truth, and life. No one comes to the Father except through him. Jesus says that he is the Prince of Peace. But if we reject peace, what is the opposite of peace? Destruction. And so, yes, it's not as we want it to be. Trust me, I wish Jesus came back yesterday. Like, I'm ready. Like, there's too much suffering in the world going on. My wife has a genetic disease. Like, I have a genetic disease. Like, I'm just done with life in a lot of ways. Not in like a suicidal way, depressed way, but like I'm longing for a kingdom, but I have hope because I have a kingdom that is sure. And so I want us to help people in Gaza. I want to help people down the street. There's so much suffering in America and around the world. Like we need to do something about it, and that's what the commandments God gave. The problem is Christians conveniently forget that command, unfortunately.
Amen, Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's for me. It's just the profound lack of empathy, I guess, that I find from Christians, especially since I've moved to America.
And I
There's
agree.
Let me just say, Mel, uh, see if this makes sense. Imagine like Beethoven, one of the best musicians and pianists in the world. It's not because someone is playing Beethoven bad that Beethoven now is false or is bad. It's not because Christians are doing things that they shouldn't do. It's not.
it's just like 3 days ago that I heard somebody use the exact same musical
But
line. It gets old, guys. It gets old. It's just a spherical nonsense that
but
goes
it's not
everybody
logical
uses. But everybody uses the same. There's nothing original. There's nothing original in the lines that you're saying. It's just I heard the same thing about Beethoven like 3 days ago, and it's back to the
because it's
same
true.
old. No, it's just there's nothing original. Think for yourself. Find some independent in your own mentality and just go with it. Don't be this guy who just needs to repeat the same old nonsense that the other guy did the other day. Have an original thought. Have an
Me-
original thought.
Mel, I have a question. So going back to what you said before, after my comment of like there's a huge lack of empathy in Christians. I just want to say I agree with you. And but my question to you is, should we judge God by humans that maybe profess that God, but should we actually judge God by humans?
Well, for me, as a total anti-theist, that makes no sense to me. Like, should
Okay.
we? It's okay. That's okay. You can answer that question. You can answer that question because you believe. For me, I have zero belief. It means nothing to me. And that your buddy there will say, "Well, why are you on here asking these questions?" Because I'm here. I'm a human being. I'm allowed to have an
Sure.
opinion.
And we're glad that you're here. Like, and at least you're letting us talk like the other, unlike the other guys. So we appreciate it. But I just want to even like empathize with you. I agree with a lot of the statements you've made, actually more than you might think, and more than most Christians, because Christians usually try to defend Christians. I don't normally because I've seen the worst of them and I've seen the worst of myself. But you've never actually given God a try.
You're saying that to me that I've never given God a try.
Yeah, because you've given people and institutions a try.
No.
What are your thoughts? Yeah.
No. I believe that's throwing out a crumb to see if I'll respond. That's like saying, "Oh, you haven't read the Bible yet." I'm stage
Well,
four
that
cancer.
is true too. Yeah.
I'm stage 4 cancer. I'm dying,
I'm
and
really sorry to hear that.
I'm just sick of asking. I bring it up in a conversation, and well, I pray for you. I'm there. Please don't. Please don't. I wish you wouldn't, but I will. I'm definitely going to pray for you. Please respect my wishes. Please respect my humanity. I'm 50 years of age, and you're 30, and here you are, just being rude. Just being rude, and so for me, it's just the blatant I'm going to make this all about me because I need to give myself a pat on the back for being a beautiful human being. And that's pretty much my view on all Christians. It's an attempt to, well, I'm going to preach to you somewhat. And
Have I done that to you?
no, I'm just saying in general. I'm talking about
Okay. Okay.
Christians in general. That, and you haven't given God a chance. You haven't given, I don't
Yeah,
need
I
to.
get it. Yeah.
I don't need to give your God a chance. I really don't need to give your God a chance. I could do the same to you, give God less of a chance, but I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. But here I am. It's just Christianity for me is a pat on the back. Here's an opportunity for me to publicize what a beautiful human being I am, and watch me go.
Yeah, Mel,
Yeah.
I just want to say something. Thank you for sharing. But you said something that probably somewhat is true. Like some Christians do this just because they want to feel good and make others feel bad and everything. But the truth, we do this because we know that we are. I'm talking about myself, and I can talk about Kevin also. We are all bad people. We all have problems. We all have sin, we all have done wrong things, and the reason why we are doing this is because we want to share the only solution that we have in this life, that is Jesus. I'm not doing
That's
this
that's
just
that's your
because
solution. That's your solution.
Mhm.
That's not my solution. That's your solution. And
It is the only solution to all humanity. Whether you accept it or not is up to each individual. We can't force anyone. We can't put a gun to anyone's head and things like that. But
yet every day I experience Christians pretty much putting a gun to everybody's head. Like I told you,
But-
I've got cancer, and I've pled with people. Please, please, I've got limited time. I don't need to be around your opinion on how I need to spend the rest of my life. So please respect me. And they refuse. They refuse.
yet you're in the algorithm because I guess you hang around Christians on TikTok a lot. And
No.
look,
I wish I maybe responded initially, like 2 years ago. I responded to one or two fundamentalist lunatics, and then after that, I go, oh my god, I got sucked into this web, and I wish I could get out of it.
yeah. And look, we know that you don't agree with God, but each one of us are going to meet God. In Philippians 2 in the Bible, which I know you haven't read at all, but it says every knee will bow before God. And so whether it's on this side of life or on the next side of life, and I know you're going to be like, oh, well, this is what everyone says, because this is the message. And one day you're going to see that Jesus really, truly was God, and that he was the only way to eternal life. And you can go to the grave being an atheist, and you have the right to do that. And that's why you can jump off anytime. But we need to, out of the abundance of love for God and a love for people, that he is the only way. And even in the last breath, you can turn to Jesus, and you may not feel like he loves you. And cancer sucks. I hate cancer, and I can't wait for the day it is gone. I hate diabetes. I have this. I hate genetic disorders that my wife has. Like, I hate all this stuff. But there is a God that has given us a promise, and it is the only hope we have. There is no other hope in this life and other lives that is certain except Jesus. But it takes humility to say, I need help. And it doesn't seem like you have that. And I'm not going to be able to convince you otherwise. And that's why I'm not going to keep you here for hours and drive you nuts. But the only way to true hope and peace is to humility and realizing that you need help from God. And I pray that one day you do take that, whether it's, and I don't think it's going to be through TikTok, but wherever God meets you, that is our hope and prayer.
Absolutely never going to happen. But
Okay. Well,
okay, Mel.
we thank you for coming up, and,
Yeah,
and thank you
thank you.
for like truly listening. And I hope you felt that too with us. We did try to listen to your perspective. So thank you.
Yeah,
but I still go back to the point that Christianity is based on giving yourself a pat on the back.
It's because of your experience with Christians.
Yeah, with pretty much every Christian.
Okay, there's like in America, because you live in America now, there's like, I think it's 67% of people say they believe in Jesus. I would say it's less than 5 or 10% that actually follow the biblical Jesus. So the likelihood of the Christians you met, the majority of them probably were not the followers of the true Jesus.
Yeah, I have no idea of the numbers.
Yeah, I don't know who you met, but I just have enough experience with people that it's just like, I don't know if you've met a true biblical Jesus.
A biblical Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, everybody claims to be, I'm a true Christian.
Yeah, I get it. And that's why, like, you can say what, like, we can believe or say what you want, but it is something to consider, that you can't assume that every Christian is actually a Christian. And Jesus in the Bible says you will know them by their fruit, meaning their actions. And all of the actions you saw that you've communicated to me are not the best. So,
and some self-reflection there on you. Are you a true Christian?
Yeah. Do I always act like it? Certainly not. But yeah,
See,
I am.
that's the blurring of the lines right there. You're talking about and that's what I'm trying to point out to you, that these people claim, I'm a true Christian. Oh, that person over there, oh no, he's just a 50% Christian. I'm the real deal. And you might be the very same person.
Well, the evidence of a Christian is humility and like a broken and contrite spirit, broken and repentant spirit. And so usually one that is marked with humility to the best of our ability, obviously. But hey, again, thank you for stopping by. We
All the best.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was a good conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was profitable.
Do you want to talk with the angry Reddit atheist? I don't know
Yeah,
if
we'll put a leash on it, but yeah, it sounds good. You can
Yes.
start.
I don't know if it's still here. It is. Okay. Hello.
I like it.
What's up?
What's up? What should we call you?
Angry is okay.
Angry? Okay. So, why do you disagree with us?
Because the Bible makes a lot of scientific claims that are disproven by modern science, specifically the global flood and Adam and Eve.
Mm-hmm. So, at first, I would start by saying the Bible is not a science book. I was starting with that.
It makes scientific claims.
Yeah. And what about Adam and Eve? You disagree?
Or I think it was the flood. Didn't you say the flood?
There's absolutely zero evidence for a global flood. If you actually disagree, please present a DOI number supporting the notion of a global flood.
There is a lot of Asian civilizations that talk about a flood.
I asked for a digital object identifier number, a DOI, a peer review study.
I don't think we know it off the top of our head, but
Yeah.
there are some.
Okay.
I've seen some.
There's none. There's absolutely none.
Actually,
The global flood is the easiest. It is the easiest myth to disprove if you have just a little bit of scientific knowledge in the field of biology.
Even if it's not a global flood, why does that make Christianity false?
Because a lot of the Old Testament is supposed to be because of the global flood. So not only does it lie with the global flood, it lies about biology. It says that all humans come from a single pair via Adam and Eve. It lies about cosmology because it says in the beginning God made the heavens and the earth, and that is not the way planetary formation happens because it needs the sun to form at first and then the earth because the earth is a product of the accretion disk when the sun was formed.
That's what I'm saying. The Bible is not a science book. You are reading Genesis like was a science book. You cannot do that. You need to read the book as the context. You need to see who wrote it, when it was written, and for who was written. You need to understand that. It's not just because the sun appears after the earth that makes it wrong. There is a reason for that, and you cannot just read the days.
So what is the reason that the Bible lied?
It's not. I don't think it's a lie.
Yeah. And I think that when you read the Bible, you either read the Bible and they call it exegesis, like trying to see what the Bible says, or you can read it in what's called eisegesis, where you have an idea and you fit it into what the text says. And so, from your perspective, and I understand you have an atheistic worldview, so you're reading with an atheistic mindset to try to prove your point. And you're going to find things. You can prep pretty much any worldview. Okay, explain why not. Yeah, can you explain why?
No, sir. I am following the evidence to where it leads. I did not make up my mind and then made a target. That's what Christians do, and that's what you're accusing me of doing. I am following the evidence to where it leads. We have massive amounts of evidence for the theory of evolution being the best explanation to the diversity of life on the planet, stronger than the shape of the earth. That contradicts the claim of the global flood. So those two cannot be true at the same time.
So I do agree in microevolution. I think that's a slam dunk. So there is a lot of evolutionary practices, or not practices, findings that are true. And again, some Christians would hate me for saying that even too. But the macroevolutionary findings, there is not scientific evidence.
Anytime a Christian says, I believe in microevolution and not in macroevolution, the Christian is telling me no, that they do not understand what the theory of evolution is. So please permit Could you please
Yeah,
define the
yeah.
theory of evolution?
You
As if
tell
I just
me.
walked into my 9th grade biology class and
Yeah.
you are the teacher. You want me to define it? Okay.
Yeah,
It
I
is the
want you to
process
go.
of
Yeah.
biological change in which species accumulate differences from their ancestors as they adapt to different environments over time. Thus, we can account for the differences with the idea that certain heritable changes occur after the two species diverge from their common ancestor. As the illustrious substantially says, nothing in biology makes sense except in the light of evolution. This is from Campus Biology, 12th edition, Pearson Education, page 11.
That was quick speaking for 9th graders. I teach 11th grade in some classes, and they would not know what it is. But so
I could show it to you. I could show you the
no,
book.
it's okay. It's okay. No, I trust that that's what it said. So you mentioned about like it's the theory of how they became from ancestors and the like. But I think micro and macro evolution is important to mention because there is no evidence of cross species changes. And if there
so
has
those
been some
terms
claims,
are outdated. Those terms are no longer used in biology. It's just evolution.
okay, that's not necessarily true.
That is
That's a
true.
pretty okay. So I want to hear your story though. Like, how did you like? You said that you didn't have an atheistic worldview when you read the Bible. So how did like what was the spiritual background that you came up growing up in home?
No,
I
I come
think
from
it's
a Christian
important that we
background.
hear. Okay.
I come from a Christian background. The best way to make an atheist is to read the Bible. Once you read the
Okay.
Bible,
So
you
at what
understand that
point
this cannot be true.
at what point would you say the questioning of God started in your life?
Age 14, age 15.
Okay, that's fair. And what would you say drove it first? Was there like a specific Bible passage? Was there a specific even thing that a pastor said? Like what really drove you to like really start on this journey?
No, I just from what I remember, I felt it was just make pretend for adults.
Okay, but there was no like actual thing in the Bible that drove you to that, or a question that you didn't get answered.
I mean, once I started taking biology, I understood that the Bible contradicts science. So
Okay, so
I mean,
biology in school, right?
yeah.
Okay, that's good. And thanks for sharing your story. And I took biology in a public school as well. And I was back when I was in high school. They don't even have this anymore. We had, I think it was like 40 pages on evolution, and then we had one paragraph on the theory of creation. And both are theories, if we're
No,
completely honest and
that's
unbiased.
incorrect. No, that's
No,
incorrect.
that's actually not correct. Like it is still a theory, unless
Okay.
I mean people can have
Now
the belief. Yeah.
permeates. Now, when you just said it's just a theory, that is another clue that lets me know that you do not understand what a scientific theory is. So I'm going to define what a scientific theory is.
Okay,
It's
go ahead.
a model that explains how a specific natural phenomenon works. It is supported by facts. It is the highest an idea can go in science. It is falsifiable and testable. So when you said it's just a theory, you are not understanding that
So,
evolution is both fact and theory. It's a fact we could see evolution happen in front of our own eyes. The model that explains how that specific natural phenomenon works is the theory.
the,
And if you need more information, here is a DOI number from the National Institute of Health, and that is the very first thing that the abstract says. Evolution is both fact and theory.
but the
Go
definition of
ahead,
theory is
Marcos.
not that. The definition of theory is a supposition. So it's not a fact.
No, it's not a supposition.
Yes, just Google
It's
it.
a model. It's a
Just-
hypothesis that has been rigorously tested.
It's a supposition or a system of ideas intended to explain something, especially when based on general principles independent of the thing to be explained. That's the definition of theory.
Okay. I mean, here you could read this DOI number 10.1590/1678 4685 GNB 2018 0086. That is the first thing it says. Evolution is both a fact and a theory.
Okay. So how does one know what is true?
You could test it
Okay.
through experimentation.
How do you know that something is tested properly?
You can perform the test yourself.
Okay. Have you tested the worldwide flood yourself?
The worldwide flood is a claim that's wait, hold on. What specific aspect of the flood?
I mean, you're the one who said it's false, and I'm just asking how does one find what is true, and you have to test it yourself,
So
and you
what you
haven't
can
tested
do?
yourself.
Yeah. So what you can do is you could buy two fishes from Walmart, and you can actually perform the experiment yourself, the ancestral experiment, and you're gonna see that the fishes, the ball of fishes that reproduces ancestrally is not going to be able to reproduce after a certain amount of generations than the other one that reproduces non-ancestrally. You can perform that experiment yourselves with fishes from Walmart,
Okay.
although it's highly immoral.
Yeah, sure. We're not suggesting that or anything. There are a lot of evidences, and I want to ask a different question, but just to read off a couple, like in my brain, is there's a lot of fossils specifically that have living organisms in them. I don't have the DOI. They're pretty mainstream. Even the evolutionists agree that they exist because we can physically see them. But the
There's
only
no
way,
such thing as fossils with living organisms.
seriously.
Yes,
I've
there's no
literally
such thing as
seen them
fossils
in
with living
museums.
organisms.
Okay.
No, there's no such thing as fossils with living organisms because fossilization is mineralization of when the species unalived. It's not the
That
bones.
that is actually very funny. I don't even know what to say about that. Because I
Permeate,
literally see it with
permeate.
my own.
I have a
Yeah.
question to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you
I'm
have a
Kevin, by the
bachelor's in
way.
biology?
What?
Do you have a bachelor's in biology or anything in medicine?
No, I don't.
Do
Okay.
you?
So I'm studying that at the moment.
We are studying also. So what's your point?
Yeah, I've studied biology and stuff too. Yeah.
Why is it that you were not able to give me the theory of evolution if you study biology?
He gave it to you.
No,
Yeah.
he didn't. He actually said you defined it, and I defined it for him.
Okay.
Yeah,
He
you
couldn't
read a
define
piece
it.
of paper.
I read, okay, how come you were not able to do the same thing?
Because I didn't feel like Googling it. But anyway, I want to hear about what your thoughts on Jesus is. Obviously, you don't
Hold
agree
on,
with the
hold on.
Bible, but yeah, go
Can
ahead.
you concede that you're not educated in the theory of evolution or in biology to
Sorry,
be able
bro.
to be making
You're
claims?
out. If you are here just to call people dumb, you're out. Sorry. What's the problem? Okay, let's try a different person. Maybe
Yeah.
not the atheist.
Hello.
Paintian, hello.
Yes. How you guys doing today?
We are good. Can we call it Pantheon? Is that good?
Yeah, Pantheon's all right.
Okay. So why do you disagree?
So, I just disagree with Christianity or religious based like theories or whatnot. So like I grant God exists.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I grant objective morality, granting and understanding that things are objective. There's like objective truth. There's no need for like Christianity.
Wait, Kevin, did you turn the comments off? I think you did
I
it.
don't know.
You did
I
it.
might have bumped it.
Oh no.
I was trying to grab something. Oh no.
Because I don't know. I know how can I put it right? Can you can you do what you did before? Because
Oh wait, I think I did it.
okay, sorry.
Okay.
Go
Yeah,
on,
we're good.
Peyton. Sorry for interrupting.
So,
Go ahead.
so, so you believe in a God, but you're not sure the like need for Christianity? Is that what it was? Just to
Well, yeah, I just believe like Christianity would be completely useless. So if let's say the point of a good world is morality based. So we could understand objective morality without use of the Bible or any
Okay.
scripture for that.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, I agree with you. You don't need to be a Christian to know what is good and what is wrong, what is bad. But the thing is, for what you said, you said that you believe there is a God. The question is, what God? What God exists? Is the God of the Bible? Is other God? That's the question.
So okay, so when I get that question actually bothers me a lot when people say like the God of the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe there would only be like one God. There would only be like existence. There's only one existence, one possible way of that existence coming to be. So when you say like, is it the God of the Bible? It would be yes, the same God of the Bible, because
Yeah.
like the way I understand it, it's easy to
Mm-hmm.
understand God exists for anybody.
Okay. Not for anybody, for just for what you saw. But I would say the problem is if you are saying that exists only one God, why is there so many different religions that contradict each other?
So because then God would be like an objective truth, right?
Yeah,
Let's
we
put an example
we agree.
like Trump exists. Like right, so but let's say like Trump existing. So Trump is a person, he's a man, right? We know he exists. Everybody will tell you something different about who Trump is. So
Yeah, but
that's just
the
my
thing is,
stand
you
on
can
it.
say, imagine, you can say Trump as blonde hair, and the other say Trump as black hair. One is wrong and the other is right. They both believe in Trump, but one say one thing is wrong and the other say one thing that is right. So they contradict each other.
Yeah, but the truth is, like we wouldn't really know. Like we have Trump like objectively that we could see it. Let's say someone's saying Trump has blonde hair, someone says Trump has black hair. Don't justify it. Like I visually see him every day on camera, and then the other
Hmm.
person will say, "Well, he actually has black hair. He just dyes it every day, and I know it because of this and this and that." You know, like everybody would just find a way to justify the way they believe it.
Yeah, but even then, there is only one truth, and you agree with that. Even there, the thing is, what do you think about Jesus?
So I mean I believe he was a man.
Hmm.
Like I won't deny scholarship and scholarly opinions.
Okay.
Uh I just think the message he was giving was maybe necessary at the time. I don't believe him to be like God or whatnot or like divine in the sense that he's like out of this world.
Okay. Have you ever read the Gospels?
Yes.
Okay. Um, what about the Gospels would you say that does not make Jesus more than just a man?
Well, I would say
Because
pretty much
sorry,
everything about the
because
gospel.
do you agree that Jesus does things that are not um, that any human cannot do, like heal people, um, walking on water, even if you believe or not in the story. Um, he says that he forgives sins, something that only God can do, and even the resurrection. It's probably the bigger proof that we have that Jesus was not just a man.
Well, the resurrection would be the one thing. Like
Hmm.
so everything else, like the miracles or whatnot, is actually what makes me believe like Joshua was actually a real person, is because they were all things that we could have faked. Like this, like today itself, like we have magicians on TV that do like miraculous things. It looks like magic, you know, and people have been doing that. You know, even in the Bible, they say Pharaoh with his magic
Hmm.
was contending Moses with their God.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
yeah, I
like,
agree.
we understand, like, magicians, there was trickery. Everything Jesus did are things that were, like, easily faked. Like, and things that we have pastors doing nowadays, healing the sick and people
Have
walking
have
off chairs.
have you
You
ever saw
know,
someone? Have you ever saw someone walking on water?
I mean, yeah, I've seen what's his name, Christian guy levitate. You know, he was flying on stage.
I'm
Like
pretty sure that is
we
fake.
don't really.
He had like something pulling him up.
Well, but
That's it.
that's what I'm saying. So it's something that maybe Jesus or that person knew some Eastern methods of like manipulating to make people think that he could walk on water.
Yeah, I get what you're
Now
saying.
the
The thing is, like,
resurrection.
in the first century, I think you don't have like the technology to do something like that. Would you
Oh no,
agree?
they I mean, no, yeah, they did actually. Like if you look into
Yeah.
some of like the mystic methods back in those days, they were like a whole lot. It was actually easier to deceive people of like these grandeur things than it is now because of technology. Because now we can like dissect the trick. Like basically, before
Yeah.
they didn't have that, they were believing like crazy
Okay,
things.
so you said you talk about the resurrection. That was something um, that completely different from any other miracle. So why don't do you think the resurrection happened?
Now, my opinion on that differs from the scholarly opinion. I truly think Joshua was actually made a deal with the Romans. And if that could have been done, it could have been easily faked.
Yeah, the thing is, what? What's happening? Give me okay, I don't know what's happening. TikTok was weird. Okay, um, I was say that I think that is impossible to Jesus to make something with the Romans, because first the Jews consider the Romans like enemies, and then the Romans they were very good at unalive people. They were very good at it, and even principle like in the crucifixion. So and you know that the crucifixion it's a historical fact that even secular scholars believe. So I don't think that's a big stretch, and I don't think that's true.
So it is, and I talked to a scholar about this.
Mm.
The answer from scholars is that there's just no good reason to believe that. Not that it could be falsified though. So it's not something that okay maybe it could have happened, but there's no good reason to believe that. The what you could look at the outcome is who did it serve best was the Romans. Who knew about death and medicine the best was the Romans. If anybody could have like I mean we had Lazarus at the same moment. So if anybody could have done something like
Yeah,
horrific and damaging a body and maybe at some point like bringing it back to life within like a matter of like hour or minutes or whatnot, it would have been the Romans.
the thing is there is no historical evidence about that. You are making a claim where you cannot back up in any way. And the resurrection, there is
No,
historical evidence that happened.
so but actually like shortly after, I think it was like 200 years after, there was evidence of like resurrections of like near death in
That's
medicine.
different.
It
The thing
was
is,
like it was
the thing it's
medical.
different. At the Jesus, he stay dead for 3 days. It's not like a near death
Well, that's
experience where you just people sometimes they die and then some minutes they come back to life, and we don't know how to explain that, but we know that that happens. But Jesus stayed dead for 3 days.
that to me could be an embellishment.
Okay.
So like we cannot know for sure that it was 3 days he was in the tomb. The Romans got paid, the guards got paid to lie.
How do you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, but by
he
who?
did. Yeah.
By who? They got
Well, it was the Romans themselves. The Romans paid the Romans, but
no. It was not the Jews that paid the soldiers to be yeah the Jews that unalive Jesus. They were the first ones that want Jesus to be unalive. They were the ones that paid to the soldiers, and we see this in the book the Gospel of Matthew. They were the ones they paid them for them to be quiet. So you are kind of you are contradicted
it was the
yourself.
Pharisees.
Yeah, the Pharisees. Yeah, was were not
All right, yeah,
was
I
not
wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't sure about that part, I guess,
That's
but I
okay. Yeah,
mean, it still stands. It, it would make no difference. Like, so it was also the Pharisees that told Pontius Pilate to put the guards there because
because they
of the
exactly, you know
disciples.
why? Because Jesus said that he would come alive after 3 days. That's why they put guards on the tomb. And the stone that was in front of the tomb was super heavy, that we need like a bunch of men to take the stone away. So they had two guards to keep the tomb. And yeah, they have to, because of the resurrection really happened, they had to pay to the guards to be quiet. So
Uh, I mean, it's just that I don't see any gain in that, like, or any way
okay,
that would prove
uh,
like the
yeah,
resurrection actually happened.
that's a good question.
It
So
actually just proves like deceitfulness.
okay, why do you think Jesus was crucified? The reason he was crucified. What do you think was that?
I mean, the reason was he was speaking against the Sabbath. That's what the
Uh,
Pharisees couldn't tolerate anymore.
no, that's not like the reason can be like related, because Jesus never speaks against the Sabbath. He says something about the Sabbath that they didn't like. So according to the Gospels, Jesus was unalive because the Pharisees say that he claimed to be God, to be equal with God. That's why, because it's a big blasphemy to say that. So that's why he was
Oh, oh no. Well,
crucified.
you. So well, but you're talking about so what they pleaded to Pontius was that he was saying that he was King of Kings.
And what did Pilate say? Pilate said that he was innocent. I don't see guilty in this man. And they ask, because Pilate didn't want like a rebellion, a revolution. He just made their way just okay. The thing what Pilate did, he washed his hands, like saying, "Not my fault. You do what you want." Because
Yeah,
Pilate found Jesus. Even Pilate asked Jesus, "Are you the king?" I think "Are you the king of the Jews?" Something like this, or I'm paraphrasing. And even say yes. And Pilate found him non guilty.
yeah, yeah. So no, I know the story, but like that doesn't help the situation. It actually should makes more argument of why he would plead a deal with the Romans.
You want to go, Kevin? You want to say something?
Yeah, sure.
I'll say you then.
So yeah, you're good. So that whole point where they were paying to like basically tell them to lie because they knew if Jesus rose, that would in essence take away their power because the religious leaders, and it's no different than many religious leaders today, is they want power, they want money, they want authority. And so that was the reason for that. And if you look at the Romans, I mean, they killed, they like crucified anywhere from 300,000 to 1.1 million people. They knew what they were doing. This wasn't their first rodeo. And so it, it supports the argument because it shows they really didn't want Jesus to be known as he is alive. They wanted him known that he is off the scene and not to be worried about. And then Jesus appeared to over 500 people at one time, and then dozens of others shortly thereafter. I mean, the evidence is crazy. And the first people that were, and it they didn't just make this up. And one of the reasons I can say that is the first people that saw Jesus when he rose is was women. And at that time, it's been said that a woman is counts as 1/3 of a testimony. Like they were literally less valued in the court of law. Yet that was the first person that met Jesus. If they were making this up, they'd be really bad at it because they're doing it in that way. So women teaching, you see the spread of the message thereafter was cataclysmic in the sense it moved so quickly, both in Jerusalem all the way to India within years, and other places around the world. I mean, the evidences surrounding it are pretty significant with that. But what are your thoughts on any of that?
Well, yeah, okay. So, but my claim is not that they were a part of faking like the whole story.
Sure. Okay.
I was just saying it was like they were faking the death because they didn't believe it was like warranted, and there was reasons to like save that man from what was going on.
Who was faking
Now,
the death? Who was faking his who was
so the
faking it?
Romans, like the
Okay.
Romans could have faked his death to like just pull him out of there.
Okay.
But they
So
also did not want him like speaking against the Sabbath. They did not like the Romans did not also like were on par with what the teachings were going because they wanted the Jews to take the Sabbath so they could fish.
Romans didn't really care. I mean, even the Pontius Pilate, he's like, my hands are innocent of it. Like he basically said, the Romans wanted at that time, and this is historically corroborated. They just wanted peace. They didn't want any insurrection, and they wanted their money. And Jesus even says, "Give to Caesar as I give to Caesar." They didn't have as much problem with the message, but they did very much have a problem with the unrest that was being caused by the people that didn't like the message, like the Sabbath keepers and like the religious leaders. To your point of you thinking the Romans faked it, Jesus's own mother was within talking distance, I don't know, 10, 20 feet or whatever it might be, because Jesus was talking to his own mother on the cross. And so, if anyone knows someone both in like looks and also in voice, you would think it's your mother, right? And she was right there on the cross. And it's not only you, but I know a lot of Muslims have this the swoon theory and things like that, that people like, oh, he got switched out the last second. It's totally impossible when your mother is there, right there. So
Not
I
only,
don't think
also
that
the
there's actual
sorry,
evidence.
sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt. The John, the one that wrote the Gospel of John, was there also.
Yeah, that's correct. Yep, we're standing right next to Mary, and Jesus was giving instructions and encouragements to both of them. But going back to Jesus, and thanks again for sharing your thoughts. So you mentioned about the miracles. I wanted to go back to that real quick. Do you believe that it is possible, knowing that there is a God? Because I think you agree that there is a God. Do you think that miracles are possible?
No.
Okay, so
It's a tricky question for me because I'm an idealist.
okay, could you define that?
So consciousness is fundamental, so
Okay,
not physical stuff. So it's like let's think like quantum mechanics.
okay, but isn't God? Like, who is God then? Because if you're saying that you don't believe in supernatural things, but you believe in God, that begs the question of who is God to you?
So God to me would be I'm a pantheist. So God would be the universe, and we know of his existence. Like basically, it's the same as tag. So is transcendent through to existence itself. And we know he exists because of the laws of nature. There's no actual reason for the laws of nature or whatnot or anything to have any truth value without that optimal point.
Do you believe that God is a personal being, like one entity?
No. Well, I mean, yes and no. Like, not a personal being, not like me and you, consciousness, and the way
Sure.
me and you. So he's like, but he is a one thing because, like, in pantheism, is that maximum point of existence where there is nothing else is that is God, all of existence, the sum total of all things.
Okay, what would you say are like some of your base readings that like helped you come to that conclusion? Was it some more like Eastern religions? Because I hear some of that from there. Like, what helped influence you to get to this point?
So for me, it was Spinoza and the book Ethics on the subject of God. He gives a good syllogist on understanding like nature and like existence itself as God. It does follow like pantheism he coined the word. They coined the word. Scholars after that, pantheism by Spinoza, but like we understand Hinduism, Taoism is all based on the same thing. They all talk about this substance.
Correct, and that's what I was kind of leading as. Is it more from the Eastern? But you're saying it's more from directly from Spinoza, but he also has that Buddhism, Hinduism,
Yes,
similar mindset when it comes to God. Correct.
yes.
Okay, so do you believe that like where? So did God, this God, create the world?
So yes, he creates and is the world. So basically, is the world. Creation is something that we have a problem with. Like everything just is.
Is the creation of God divine?
God would be divine. Yes.
But who like is God? Are humans and the nature, trees, flowers, all those things divine?
In a sense, yes. Like so, to me, it comes down to consciousness. Like us observing, like all this information is divine.
Okay.
Like we can't deny that. Like just existence in itself is just beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. And the Bible talks about. And have you read the Bible before? I think you said you read the Gospels. Have you read like most of the Bible?
Yeah, I've read the whole Bible. I grew up Seventh Day Adventist. I was
Okay.
like into it for like 20 years, and I was an atheist for 20 years, and then something happened where I figured out the truth.
Okay. So something happened. Was it like a spiritual experience of some sort? If you don't mind me asking.
So yeah,
Okay.
I would say a near death experience.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. And look, the reality I've seen time and time again, the people that are pantheists or of Eastern religion origins, oftentimes have spiritual experiences, and that could be near death or it could be some spirits, because there is a spiritual realm that is so clear. That's why atheism to me is just irrational if you actually look at the evidences. So I
I
appreciate that you believe in the spiritual, that you believe in something, but the question is, what is God? And this is where we're going to disagree, at least at this point, that there is a God that created the world. And I think to an extent you would agree with that. But God created us in his image, imago Dei, it's called, talks about. It's not that he created us as divine, but we are in his image, which there's a huge difference on that, both in theology and also practical, because I am not divine. You are not divine. Marcus is not divine either. But God created us in his image. We failed miserably because we can't live up to the divine. And I think even in your worldview, we can't be perfect. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. And you've lived enough life where you see people kind of suck sometimes. So we
Yep.
mess up. And that's where there has to be a solution for that. In pantheism and even in the Eastern religions as well, there is the only solution in every single world religion is try to be good enough, try to be a better person, try to please the gods or be kind to one another, because usually the idea is because everyone's divine, be nice to them. But the reality is we're not divine, and Jesus came down to the earth as God. He is the only divine one. And I know you doubted the miracles, and I get that. It's hard to fathom some stuff because you can't see within our own eyes. But it is actually logical. If God is who he says he is, which is greater than us, then he is, and he is all powerful, then he is able to do anything. And he not did not just do miracles just to like willy-nilly and like get people to praise him. He did it. He was helping people, he was loving people, he was revealing himself so that people could see with eyes open. Like you, even in your near-death experience, your eyes were not maybe fully open, but you were open to like there's something out there. And that was a mercy, I believe, of God, that he gives us opportunities to see, even though it's a glimpse, it's not everything. We see dimly like a mirror. And then Jesus, he went to the cross and he rose again. Yes, because of the religious leaders, like we talked about, but he did it to solve the root problem of all humanity, that we have rejected God and rebelled against God. And that is what we have to consider, is how do we please God? How do we get back to God? How do we be in relationship to God? And like let me tell you, like with your spiritual experience, these things are real. I've seen demons, I've seen creatures, I've seen visions, I've seen people freed from spiritual things. And I want to say Colossians 2:15, it says that Jesus not only like was on the cross for our sins, but Jesus conquered every spiritual authority. So the spiritual things that cause you to believe in something or have no power and authority over the one who conquered death itself, which is Jesus. And so I want to appreciate your experience that you have at least a belief of spiritual things, but there is a God who is greater, and there is a God who conquers those things. And we can see a lot of crazy stuff, but we have to ask the question is what is true and what is the greatest? So just wanted to share that with you. But what are your
So
thoughts? Yeah.
so this is my only problem with it, and this is where I fall on the fence with
Okay.
Jesus
Go
or
ahead.
Christianity completely. So like, because we could talk about the facts and if they add up or they don't add up, but doesn't make like logical sense. So the way I believe in God, it is like maximal powerful.
Yes, we would
And
agree.
so it would be to me unnecessary to even talk to us or give us any set of instructions, because whatever he would please, it would just automatically happen.
Okay.
Because in my worldview, so God would be like his only nature is existence. So we believe basically everything and anything that can exist does exist. So that goes into quantum multiverse theories and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My problem where it lies, so it is a spectrum of 0 to 100%. So meaning everything has to happen. The idea that God manifests himself as a human, as 100% God, 100% human,
Yeah.
would have to fit in that 100%. So there would have to be that 1% where in that one world it did happen.
The thing
I
we
should
we
still
don't
find it.
sorry, just to interrupt you. We don't say 100% because that's illogical, like I said. We say fully or truly. You can say truly. Truly God and truly man. That's
Yeah.
what we say.
And I could, and that's the thing I like about my worldview is that I could come up with theories on how that could be true, and I could come up with theories on how that cannot be true. And they both work. That's why we have these arguments. But it's also logical that a man and God could be one, right? Like we see this in video games. If you want, like, you could create a game and actually play the character in a game.
Yeah.
So there is possibilities, but the why is not there. Like, why would it be absolutely necessary
Okay.
if no matter what he wants, like I don't think we're like in any capabilities to go against what he desires.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. And I'll ask the why and kind of your question on even God's sovereignty and power, because I think it's a good one and valid too. One is if there was any other way to do what God did, which is to bring us back into his presence, to bring us back into a relationship, he would. Jesus himself in the Bible, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but the night before he went on the cross, he says, Father, if there is any other way, let this cup pass before me. And the cup being God's wrath. And so it was not this something like, oh yeah, like I guess we'll do it, and just because like this was the only way, because God is fully loving and fully wrathful, and so there was and just, and so there you had to have a perfect sacrifice. No humans are perfect, and so that's kind of the why is it's the only way to satisfy his justice and also to have his love. But I wanted to touch your point because I think it's a valid one of why would we even need to talk and reason about God if God is so powerful? The Bible does talk about that God has predestined those who believe him. So there is a sovereignty and power of God. But then there's also in the Bible told multiple times in the book of Joshua 24:18, it says, okay, today you must choose, will you serve the Lord? And Joshua says, like, for this day forward my house will serve the Lord. We see John 3:16, it says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him will not perish but have eternal life. There's not a forced nature. There was people that rejected Jesus and walked away, and Jesus didn't go grab them by the ear and drag him to follow him. And so there is a sovereignty and power of God, but there's also some type of will that we may not understand fully, and I'm not going to say that I understand the ways of God, but the Bible does speak on both of the sovereignty and power of God, but he to whosoever will. I've heard an example in the gates of heaven, uh, on the front of the gate it will say for whosoever will, and then on the back of the gate it will say chosen from the beginnings of the world. And so I do agree and believe there is a powerful God, but God ordained us as Christians to share the good news of Jesus because it is the power of God. But we still honor and respect the sovereignty and power and authority of God. I don't know if that helps you but understand maybe the Christian worldview, but does that help on the sovereignty and power of God?
Just want to say, Pantheon, we have to move on because there is a guy waiting. He's waiting for too long,
Yeah,
and
agreed, agreed.
just too short the
Yeah,
conversation.
no, it was a good talk. I might come up. I'm gonna follow both of you guys, and
Yeah,
I'll
for
come
sure.
up again.
Yeah,
Appreciate, yeah, and
thank you so
we'll
much
do
for
more. And
coming.
I would love to continue the conversations, and even DM me. Would love to chat more, Pantheon. Really appreciate how you think and listen, and it was good. Thank you.
Thank you, Pantheon.
Sir, you guys too. Thank you.
Rabbi, how
Oh,
are you?
sorry, man. I didn't
Sorry,
want to be pushy. Good, good.
sorry for the waiting.
No, sorry, man. You're good, man. Sorry, I didn't want to bother you. Like, keep, saying, hurry up, but I had to go soon, so.
Okay, so
Yeah, so regarding Christianity true, like why I disagree,
mhm,
there's a few reasons. Some are more just emotional, like I just personally don't believe God to become a man or a triune God. Like it just doesn't align with my thought of belief, right?
okay,
Like I believe that naturally my like inclination always leads to just simply one, not three in one, not all this. But one problem I do have, it's actually an argument and not just emotional, is I believe the hypostatic union is a contradiction.
okay, okay. For what you said, I can say that you are a Muslim. That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What you say is a contradiction.
Okay. The reason I believe it's a contradiction is because the person Jesus, okay. First of all, do you believe that Jesus has one mind or two minds?
Define mine.
SubhanAllah, how to define this? Like a place of consciousness, if that makes sense. Consciousness, knowledge, etc.
I don't know how to answer that, but I would say he has two wills. I would say that because I believe the will comes from the nature.
Two hills, okay. Sure, yeah.
Why are you
So I believe
laughing?
with the person, I don't know, it just sounds funny, two hills. All right, nothing. Yeah, so regarding this, I believe that he has two opposing natures, meaning when you attribute a divine nature to Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
right, you are predicating all the necessary attributes and properties of divinity, such as all knowing, all powerful, right?
Yeah.
Then when you predicate a human nature to Jesus, you're also predicating all the necessary attributes of humans, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning he's also necessarily not all knowing if he's also human, because humans are not all knowing, they're limited, etc. So I just believe that what is it? He has two opposing natures. Like one makes him all knowing, one makes him not all knowing.
Okay, I would. It's impossible for a human to be all knowing if God wants it to.
Yeah, it is. So God can do everything, but yeah, so we believe God can do all things are possible, right? And not
Mm-hmm.
contradictions. The reason this is not this would not never happen is because God is necessarily, right, the only all-knowing one. Because then if there's two all-knowing people, then he's not God anymore, right? So this is something that no, God necessarily is the only all-knowing one.
Got it. But if God wants to, I don't say, if God gives the ability to someone to be all knowing, why does it take the why?
Yeah, because that's specific to God only. For example, can you say, right, can God make someone as powerful as him? You would say no, because God is the most powerful. That's what it means to be God, to be the all-knowing, to be all-powerful, right? So if you're giving it to someone else, then you're stripping the meaning of God from God. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I get what you're saying. The
Yeah.
thing is, with Jesus, I would say that Jesus, he was always God, so he always had these attributes. He just limited himself for a period of time, as by becoming a woman, sorry, a human.
Human, yeah.
And he didn't lose the God attributes. He just limited himself to the human nature. I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay, great. So regarding that, all right. So first of all, it depends how you limit or how you define limited here. Both ways will, my opinion, still lead to a contradiction.
Okay.
First of all, we know knowledge is not something that you use in this sense. I mean, for example, power, right? You use some of your power, you don't use some of your power. That doesn't mean you're not. That doesn't mean you don't have your power, right? You're just not using it. Correct.
Yeah, correct.
But knowledge is not something you use some and limit it and use all of it. You either know it or you don't know it. That's how it works, right? It's
Okay.
not like, for example, like power, if that makes sense, you know? So regarding Jesus's knowledge, if you say that he knows it, yet him as the human, he knows it, he just doesn't speak of it, then the contradiction still stands because you are still claiming in his mind he is all knowing and not all knowing. If you claim that he temporarily limited it, meaning he temporarily stripped it away from himself, that he actually didn't know temporarily, then he's not God anymore, because for X to be God, X must necessarily be all knowing at all times.
So if I say that I believe that Jesus was always all knowing, why is that a problem?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you claim that he has two natures, right? The divine nature making him all knowing at all times necessarily, okay? And the human nature making him limited in knowledge necessarily. So if you claim he knew, he just didn't speak of it, right? Then in his mind, he has all knowledge and limited knowledge, which is a contradiction.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how to answer that because I know
That's fine.
I haven't looked into the like philosophy and metaphysics to respond to
Yeah, I
that.
get you. I get you.
But I would say that it. But I understand what you're saying. But I would say that it's not like impossible if God granted to a human to know more than he knows.
Yeah, that's
Because
fine. You can go ahead and go ahead. Sorry.
and I believe that Jesus was always all knowing, and I think the Bible corroborate that. I think Jesus was always all knowing. Of course, he had limitations as a human, but yeah, I understand what you're saying, but yeah, I need to see more. I need to check more about that because if you are going to metaphysics and philosophy, I don't know how
Yeah, I
to
get
answer.
you. I get you. It's a whole complicated thing. Like when I was debating this a while ago, my head, like I was literally trying to sleep, and I'm not even kidding. Like I was angry in my head, like it was hurting almost.
Yeah,
Because I
I'd
was like,
say
"What is this topic? It's so confusing." And then
yeah.
they were telling me that he knows in accordance to his divinity and doesn't know in accordance to his humanity, right? So when they first told me that, I thought, okay, it sounds like it makes sense almost. But what does that mean, right? What does it mean to
Yeah.
know in accordance to divinity? And then I looked into it more, and personally, I just found it to be, again, like gibberish, and it doesn't make sense because when you say someone is divine, okay, there's no such a thing as knowing through divinity. You give the knowledge to the person because natures without are meaningless without persons, right?
I agree. Yeah.
So when you attribute it to someone, you don't say his nature is all knowing. You say he's all knowing, right? Because you gave him the attribute of divinity. So especially if you claim he has one mind, we know that knowledge can't be separated. So if you have one mind and all knowledge is in it, and like you get, it's gonna go back to the same thing I was saying earlier. So I don't know, man. It's a confusing topic. Could I ask something else though?
Yeah, but I would say probably someone that you can talk about that I think they know more about that is you have Nick, probably you know him. Or you have another guy is Elijah Johnson. He also know metaphysics, or Bear the Image. He's also good to answer that. Like some
And I just want to comment real quick on that. I'm not a metaphysicist, so that's why he didn't drop my name. But I do want to like reference that this divinity of Jesus, and specifically on like, did he have knowledge? Did he lose knowledge? it is super hard. And like and I heard you say one or two times, like, if he's divine, then this, and like, I don't think Jesus was given anything because he is divine, from my worldview. But our assumption of what a divine will be, we almost have to take out our assumptions, because we think that it has to make sense in our head. But I do think that there's a scripture in the Old Testament that the secret things belong to God. There's going to be some aspects that are beyond our full comprehension. If anyone says they can fully comprehend God, I would say they don't know or understand God, or they should be God themselves if they can fully. And I'm not saying don't research this metaphysics stuff, so I don't want to discourage you, but I want to say that you're not going to have full understanding to a certain extent. So I just want to leave it there.
Yeah, I get that. But like, I personally see a difference between not understanding God and like what I personally, no offense, believe to be a contradiction, right?
Okay.
Because then if anything that we have a problem with, we just say, oh, you can't understand God.
Sure.
And that becomes a fallacy because we're just
I
appealing
agree.
to mystery. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we can leave it at that until, we all look into it more in the future, etc. Since
Yeah. What's your next question though? And maybe I'll ask a question of Marco's one.
Yeah, I've heard this one around. So basically, regarding that, historically, we don't have evidence that Jesus was buried, right? From the evidence that I've heard is that the customs, right? So generally, we assume the norm, okay? The normal practice of things until we have good reason to assume otherwise. For example, if you see a bird, you assume the norm that it can fly until you have reason to assume otherwise, right? Because if you say, I believe it can't fly for no reason, then you're not justified in that belief, correct? Because you have no good reason to assume otherwise, right? So the norm at the time and place, etc., where Jesus was crucified, the norm was that the people who were crucified would be left up on the cross to rot and be eaten by birds, right? Even a scholar, his famous Christian scholar, mentioned for believing that Jesus was eaten by a dog, right? No offense, I'm literally just like stating it, random fact. So point being is, people say that, oh, the Jews, but they follow the Jews' law, etc., that they have to be buried before like sunrise or sunset, whatever it was, right? But the thing is, regarding that, we know that the Jews, they had no control over Roman executions, and the Romans didn't care about Jewish sensitivities. So the point being is that we have no historical reason or evidence, from what I know at least, to believe he was crucified, or that he was buried. Sorry, not crucified, that he was buried.
We have, but it's going to depend on your belief because the Gospels explain what happened. It says there were a guy.
Yeah, but who's
was a guy
Go
that
ahead, sorry.
asked for Jesus' body, and they put him not buried, but they put it in the cave. I don't know. So
well, that's the thing, though. if it was super reliable, which I personally doubt it's reliable, right? I don't know. Historically, according to skeptics, I don't know if that chapter or verse referring to is reliable. But even Christians among themselves differ which tomb is supposedly Jesus' tomb. There's multiple tombs attributed to Jesus. So if it was as clean cut as, just, oh, the Bible says it right here, it's historically reliable, then you would assume no one would differ about it, But that's just like one small fact there. What is it? I also wanted to say this, right? Regarding generally Christianity's belief, personally, is that I feel as if there, and I have to go after this because I have to go to the mosque, right? It's Ramadan. I feel as if that all the core beliefs of Christianity are to be argued about too much, if that makes sense. Like, for example, who is God? Is it the Trinity or is it just the Father? Christians differ among this. What is it? Is the Trinity one God?
Sorry,
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
say
go ahead.
real Christians, they wouldn't differ on that. But that's
Yeah,
another
but again, I'm
topic.
saying the Unitarians will tell you real
Yeah, but
Christians
we
wouldn't
don't
differ
believe
about
that they are
this.
Christians.
So yeah, but like, you get what I'm saying, though. Both will call each other wrong. So that's my
But
point.
it's the same thing with you. You have the Sunni and you have the Shia. You guys disagree, and doesn't mean that because you disagree, one is false. Got it? You understand? So
yeah, but I doubt the Shias disagree about core beliefs, like who is God, etc.
There's some pretty core beliefs that they differ on.
There is some extremist Shias that probably do like attribute crazy things, like the Imam like stopped the sun or something. Like they maybe attribute things that are only to God to the imams, etc. But again, these guys have like, what is it, zero evidence probably for these claims. But like if we're being honest, even granting you that yours is more plausible, there is still some evidence that might make someone want to think that there's only one God, you know. But besides that, that's just like a quick statement, you
But
know.
the thing is, that's what we believe. We
Mhm.
believe in one God. That's the thing.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
first
I
of
get
all,
it.
who is God? Then second, is it three gods or one God? Is the hypostatic union a contradiction or is it not a contradiction? Right?
Yeah.
Can God be a man or can he not be a man? Right? So it's all these basic beliefs, and I feel like you have to get into such deep metaphysics just to be able to have a understanding of it, which I personally feel goes against the Bible, because the Bible says that God is not the author of confusion, right? So if God claims this, then why are all core beliefs and basic beliefs, why are they so argued upon and differed upon, and why do you need deep metaphysics to understand it? You get what I'm saying?
So God actually in the Bible doesn't say that everything's going to be simple. He said he's a God of order, but he actually constantly, like even Jesus in the Injil, which the Quran actually corroborates the Bible and attributes the Bible to being the Word of God, for portions of it. And but Jesus actually didn't like talked in parables to the masses, because and then he talked in more directness to the disciples. So Jesus, even when he walked the earth, wasn't very clear on a lot of topics. He talked in parables. So what you're saying, that God is always going to be simple, is categorically false from the Bible. And also, if God is, and even Allah, you call Allah holy and set apart in all of his ways, if we think we fully understand him, then he's not God. So I disagree with that assumption about God.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really think of God as like, I don't have an opinion whether God is like super complex to understand like basic ideas. Like, I don't have an opinion on that. But I just generally feel that such ideas and important beliefs shouldn't be so hard to understand. Not as in, oh, if I don't see a problem with it, right?
Yeah.
But I just don't understand it. That is different to me, right? For example, I don't see any contradiction in it, anything. It's just kind of complex to me. I don't understand it, right? But I see a problem when it leads to doubts. You get what I'm saying? When it leads, do I actually worship one God? Is it actually three gods? Right? Is a hypostatic union actually possible? Right? Why do so many people argue about it? Like these type of things. But again, that's more of an emotional argument, I guess. It's not like a
I get it, but look at this real quick. So do you believe in Satan, or like
yeah.
the evil one, correct?
Yeah.
So if you think about it, there's God and there is this entity. Do you call him Satan in your faith? I should know this, but
Shaitan.
yeah, that's right. You're right.
Shaitan or Iblis.
So if they're on opposing sides, if one wants to skew the truth of God, they're not going to completely take the opposite. They're going to deceive. They're going to mix in a little bit of falsehoods mixed in with some truth. Even in the garden in the Bible, it talks about how Satan came and just said, "Did God really say that?" He didn't. He didn't say the opposite of what God did. He started questioning God. And if you look at the macro history, even of the 2,000 years since Jesus, is there's been a lot of questioning, like, is Jesus really God? That started from the very beginning, from the Gnostic heresy, and then in Islam and things like that. Is the Holy Spirit really real? Did God really say that? And so there's this attack on the truth, not by the opposite, but by questioning and dividing. And so if you look at the macro level, that's what's happening, is the spiritual darkness and enemy, the ultimate enemy of God, is deceiving. And that's what you're seeing within Christianity as a whole, is the enemy working overtime to deceive, not by the opposite, but by confusing, dividing, and things like that.
Yeah, good point. Dude, I got one more question if you guys don't mind, and I actually really gotta go. Okay,
and you probably gotta eat too, because I know you're fasting.
I just ate not that long ago.
Okay, so you're talking on a full stomach. So cool. Yeah, go ahead. What's your question?
Okay, this is gonna sound kind of rude, but I'll try to phrase it in a way where it's like nicely critical. You know, I don't want to say it in a rude way. You know.
Just let us have it.
Okay, I guess this is an argument, but it's just something I find personally like odd. That when God, right, became a man. Okay, first, do you believe that Jesus was breastfed?
Yeah.
Okay, right. That's a normal belief, right? He lived like a man. You assume that we have no
Yeah.
other reason to think he didn't get breastfed,
Of
right?
course.
We know that if Jesus is God, all right, according to your belief, that him getting breastfed doesn't affect his divinity, and like he should have, like, how do I say it? He could have not got breastfed, and he would have been just as human. It wouldn't have affected his message, his gospel, anything, right? So why is he voluntarily, if that makes sense, sucking on the breast of a woman when it has like literally zero benefit? You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
he's kind of just voluntarily doing it,
Yeah.
No
So
offense,
basically, your question is why did God came to a so vulnerable and lower place? Why he did that? Why God put himself in such a, can say, humiliation to come as a baby and be dependent as a baby from
Well, no,
someone?
not that. Like, I don't really care about like he became a baby or dependent. But why is he doing, like, how do I say it? If I place like this sounds rude, but why would God suck on the breast of a woman unnecessarily? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but if he's a human, it's not necessary. It's in that time you didn't have like the formulas that today babies take. So a baby needs to take the from the mother's milk. So it's, I think I would say it's not unnecessary.
Yeah, but the baby is still divine though, so he still would have needed, according to you, right?
Yeah. The thing is, it's the question is not, is like why he did that, why the God, why he came to his creation, and why he did that. That's a question. And the answer, and I think you know what we believe as Christians, God came as the person of Jesus Christ to live the perfect life. He was sinless. I think you agree with me. And now you will not agree, but he died on the cross for our sins, so that we could be saved from our punishment that we deserve as sinners. Because Bible, the consequence of the sin is death. So my punishment as a sinner is death, but because Jesus came and lived the life that I couldn't live, he paid the price for my sins. That's why.
Wait, is it true that I heard this yesterday? I don't know if this is true or what's the context. Is it true that Jesus called the woman a dog?
No, Jesus. Yeah, Jesus said like I don't give feed to the like food to the dogs. So it wasn't her directly, but it was more like the general population and specifically like the people that have rejected God.
Yeah.
Like because like even he even commands us in the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew where it says like don't feed the pearls to the swines like the pigs. And that doesn't mean we value them less, but there's a time where like if people don't want to hear about God, we're gonna just stop because we entrust God to do what He does. Like we don't need to do it. So there's He values all people, but there's a time and a place where look, you just trust God. We believe in the sovereignty of God. And hey, can I really quick just respond last thing about the baby thing? Hebrews chapter 4, verse 14 to 15. It says, "Since we have a high priest who has passed through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold fast." But then it says, "For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who in every respect has been tempted as we are, yet without sin." And just think of like weaknesses. The most weak you could be and the helpless that you could be is breastfeeding. Like you are completely reliant on them to even live. And that's what Jesus did is he is fully divine. But he was also fully human. And I know that like blows our brains up because it's like, how is that possible? But Jesus went through everything that we did. So he didn't say, well, I didn't go through breastfeeding like you guys, like, haha, like, or whatever. Like, he was helpless as we are, because we can now know he empathizes with our weaknesses. That is so radical and really, like, it's insane to think about it. But it shows that he didn't just come to send a message. He came to suffer with us. And so I do think it's important to even talk about those things like breastfeeding or whatever. Like he
I don't
empathized
know,
and
man.
sympathized with
Like,
our weaknesses. So
it
yeah,
just
go ahead.
sounds wrong, man. It just sounds wrong to bring God down to such a low level. Like, I get you say, like, oh,
Okay.
he's, feeling suffering with you, etc. But I just
Yeah.
I personally I just find it wrong. Like I always just think of
Yeah.
God as so above,
So
etc.
yeah,
You
and
know
I really appreciate, and I'm genuine in saying this, Muslims' view of the holiness of God. And I will be the first one to confess, even Christianity, like we do not represent the holiness of God well, especially in America when like we're pumping out these Hollywood videos that are insane. Like we're not a Christian nation.
Yeah.
But I want to say that God is totally holy. And we as Christians, even though Jesus came down and gave us holiness, we are saved for the purpose of being holy. And so we need to be holy, and God is holy. But think about this, God is not just one attribute. You even have 99 names of God, 99 names of Allah, right? Are you familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't define God just as holy or just as merciful. You have to look at him in the totality. And this is where God in the totality, the God of the Bible, is holy, but he is also loving. He's also merciful. He's also forgiving. He's just in all of his ways. The only way that God could achieve justice and love was that he would come down. One, he had to love the people by coming down to be with them. You can't love from distance. Like you can't say, "Oh, I love my dad," and just send him a mail and never spend time with him. Like no, you need to spend time with them. You need to go to them, pursue them. But then the justice piece. If you or I were perfect, we could sacrifice. Just like you all have a sacrifice with Eid. Just like your prophet Abraham was about to sacrifice Ishmael, and Allah provided a ram. Like there would be, if there was any other sacrifice that could be done, but the only one that could truly sacrifice and have something that's worth that's going to be effective, and that's God. And so I agree with the holiness. It seems to contradict his holiness, but it also confirms his love, confirms his justice. So you have to look at the totality of attributes and not just one.
All right. Thank you so much, guys, for talking
Thank
to
you.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
for
great
sure.
conversation, guys.
We appreciate it. Hopefully we can talk again. Follow.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
we'd love to DM as well and have even private conversations. We thank you for your conversation.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I think we are going to stay here. We don't have any guests coming, so and we don't have too much people watching. So
It's all good.
I think you're going to stay here. What do you think?
I'm up for staying or going. I'm up for either.
Yeah, it's very slow pace right now, probably because it's late.
Yeah.
Normally,
We can do it. We can and then come off. Yeah.
normally like in the afternoon, it's better because
Okay. Well.
you get more people from the east side because they are still awake.
Yeah. Nice. Well, maybe we'll have to do an afternoon one next time. But I
Yeah.
thought there was some quality conversations
Yeah.
tonight. There was some non-quality, but it was worth it.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin, for coming again. Okay,
Yeah, it was
so
fun.
thank you everyone that watched the live, TikTok and YT. I can't say the name of the app because TikTok is weird. So, okay, guys. So Kevin, have a good night. God bless you. God
Thank
bless you
you.
guys. Bye.
God bless. Bye.
To the people on YouTube,